Welcome to Spoken English HQ. Let's practice.
Real conversations for better English.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spoken English HQ podcast. I am Luisana, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Benjamin. How are you today, Benjamin?
Hi, Luisana. I am doing wonderful, and I am very happy about today's topic because honestly, this is something that hurts a lot of our students in silence. Nobody talks about it, but everybody feels it.
Oh, I think I know what you mean. Let's paint the picture for our listeners. I am sure this has happened to you. It is night. You had a good day. You actually studied your English for 30 minutes. You learned 5 new words, and you feel a little bit proud of yourself. You think, okay, I am making progress.
A beautiful moment. You earned it. And then you pick up your phone.
Yes, you open social media just to relax. And the very first video you see is a young person who says with a giant smile, "Hi guys, I learned English in only 3 months, completely fluent, and now I speak 5 languages."
And in 2 seconds, your happiness is gone, completely gone. A moment ago, you were proud of your 5 new words, and now you feel like a complete failure. You think, 5 languages in the time it took me to learn 5 words? What is wrong with me? And then you keep scrolling, and it gets worse. You see a 12-year-old child speaking perfect English with a beautiful accent. You see your old classmate who now works in another country. And the dark cloud arrives.
The guilt and the sadness arrive together. You start telling yourself a very cruel story. You say, "Everybody is faster than me. Everybody is better than me. I have studied for years and I am still here, in the middle. Maybe I am just slow. Maybe I am just not talented."
That is exactly the trap, Luisana. This is what we call the comparison trap. We take our real, normal, everyday progress and we compare it to the best moment of a stranger on the internet. And it is never a fair comparison. Never. Because that person is showing you their highlight, their best 3 seconds, after months or years of work you never saw.
It is so true. On social media, nobody shows the 2 years of confusion. Nobody shows the 100 mistakes, the boring grammar nights, the days they wanted to quit. They show you the trophy, not the training. So, when you compare your normal Tuesday to their perfect highlight, of course you feel terrible. So, if you are listening to us right now, and you have felt that heavy, sad feeling after watching someone perfect online, please take a deep breath. Stop comparing your real life to their highlight video.
Exactly. You are not slow. You are not behind. You are simply walking your own path at your own speed. And removing that comparison is the very first step to enjoying your English journey again.
Because here's the truth, my friends. Comparison steals your joy. And without joy, learning becomes heavy and sad. We want this journey to feel like yours, not a race against the whole internet.
That is beautifully said, Luisana. Now, let's look under the hood. Let's talk about the real mechanism. Why does comparison hurt us so deeply? Why can one short video destroy a whole day of good feelings?
Well, psychologically, our brain is always trying to measure where we are in the group. It is an old, natural instinct. Am I doing okay? Am I safe? Am I enough? And when we see someone who looks much better than us, the brain sends a painful signal. It makes us feel one very specific thing. Let's say it slowly together. Inadequate.
Inadequate. What a strong B2 level adjective for our listeners to absorb. It is a precise word that means not good enough. When you feel inadequate, you feel that you are not enough, that you do not have enough value compared to others.
That sounds natural. You know, many learners just say, "I feel bad," or "I am not good." And that is fine. Those words are correct. But the word inadequate is much more precise and mature. When you say, "Watching that video made me feel inadequate," you are describing that exact feeling of, "I am not enough compared to that person."
Exactly. And here is the key idea. That feeling is a lie. It is not based on reality. You feel inadequate not because you are bad at English, but because you are comparing two things that should never be compared.
That is such an important point, Benjamin. We feel inadequate because we compare our beginning to someone else's middle. We compare our chapter 2 to their chapter 20. And that comparison is simply not real. It is not fair to you.
Precisely. And the most dangerous part is what happens next. When you feel inadequate, you lose your motivation. You think, why even try? I will never reach their level. And then you study less, you practice less, and you actually slow down. So the comparison does not push you forward, it pulls you back.
So the problem is not other people being good at English. The problem is the comparison itself. If we want to protect our progress, we have to protect our mind from this feeling of being inadequate.
That is the heart of today's episode, Luisana. The goal is not to be better than everyone else. The goal is to stop measuring yourself against everyone else and start measuring yourself against only one person, who you were yesterday.
I love that, Benjamin. To help our audience really see this, let me give you a simple analogy. Look at the little plants behind us. Imagine that learning English is exactly like growing a garden. Stay with me here.
A garden. Okay, I am listening. Tell me more.
So, imagine you plant a seed of a beautiful flower, and right next to you, your neighbor plants a different seed. Now, every single morning, you go outside and you look at your neighbor's plant, and it is taller than yours, and you start to panic. You think, why is my plant so slow? Why is theirs growing faster? My plant is a failure.
Oh, I see exactly where this is going. And what do many people do when they panic like that? They do something terrible. They dig the seed out of the ground to check if it is growing.
Exactly. And when you dig up the seed to check it, what happens? You kill it. You break the roots. The plant cannot grow if you keep pulling it out of the soil to compare it. It needs time, in the dark, in peace, doing its own quiet work.
That is such a powerful image, Luisana. Because here is the truth. A sunflower and a rose grow at totally different speeds. One blooms early, one blooms late. But a late flower is not a failed flower. It is just a different flower in a different season. Your English is the same. You will bloom in your own season.
And the most beautiful part, a flower never looks at the flower next to it and feels inadequate. It just uses its own energy, its own water, its own sun to grow. It minds its own garden.
So in your daily life, when a friend starts comparing your level to someone else's, you can answer with calm and confidence. Let's show them a simple micro-conversation, Luisana.
Hey, your coworker already speaks English so well. Aren't you worried that you are slower than him?
Not really. He started long before me, so we are at different stages. I am just focusing on my own progress, one step at a time.
Beautiful. Did you hear that? We are at different stages. I am just focusing on my own progress. That sentence is so calm and so mature. You are not jealous. You are not sad. You are simply minding your own garden.
Yes, because when you focus on your own plant, you stop wasting your energy on comparison, and you put all of that energy back into growing. That is when you truly start to bloom.
Welcome everyone to our favorite part of the episode, the word tour section. This is where we take one advanced piece of English vocabulary and turn it into a real tool you can use today. Today, we are highlighting a wonderful, powerful B2 level verb that is perfect for beating the comparison trap. To thrive.
Oh, to thrive is such a beautiful verb. When a plant thrives, it does not just survive. It grows strong, healthy, and full of life. So in daily life and personal development, to thrive means to grow, to do very well, and to become strong and successful in your own environment. It is much more alive than just to be okay.
Exactly. And this is so powerful for our topic. Instead of comparing and feeling inadequate, you choose to thrive. For example, instead of saying, "I am behind everyone," you say, "I am thriving in my own way, at my own speed." Feel the difference in energy.
I love that shift, Luisana. Words really do change our feelings. So, how can our listeners use this verb today without pressure? Here is your micro action. Forget about everyone else online. Before you sleep, write down one small thing in English that you did better than yesterday.
Yes! Just one thing. Maybe you understood one new word in a song. Maybe you said one full sentence out loud. Write it down and say, "Today, I am thriving." When you measure yourself against yesterday, not against strangers, you start to thrive instead of feeling inadequate.
Absolutely. You water your own garden. You stop looking over the fence at your neighbor's plant, and you put your eyes back on your own beautiful growing flower. That is how real, peaceful progress happens.
So let's say it together one more time. To thrive. I am thriving in my own season. I am thriving at my own speed. My garden is growing, and that is enough. Now that we understand the comparison trap and have the word thrive in our vocabulary, let's talk about 3 practical techniques you can use immediately to protect your mind and keep growing in peace.
These are simple but powerful mental tools. I want you to save this episode and come back to these whenever the comparison trap tries to pull you in. Ready? Let's go.
Technique number 1 is called the progress journal. Every evening, write down just one sentence about your English progress. It can be, "Today I understood a joke in English," or "Today I spoke without stopping." Just one sentence, your own words, your own win.
The progress journal is powerful because it redirects your attention. Instead of measuring yourself against a stranger online, you measure yourself against yesterday's version of you. And when you read back 3 months of entries, you will be amazed at how much you have grown.
Technique number 2 is called the scroll pause. The next time you are on social media and you see someone speaking perfect English, before you feel inadequate, pause. Take one breath and say out loud, "They are in their chapter. I am in mine. Both chapters are valid.
The scroll pause interrupts the automatic comparison reaction. It gives your brain a second to choose a different response. Instead of feeling behind, you feel like a parallel traveler on a different road. Your road is not slower, it is simply yours.
And technique number 3 is called the Thrive affirmation. Every morning, before you open your phone, say this sentence out loud. I am not competing with anyone. I am growing in my own season. I choose to thrive. 3 seconds. Every morning. It completely resets your mindset for the day.
The Thrive affirmation works because it creates a mental filter. When comparison tries to enter your mind during the day, your brain already has an answer ready. You have already decided this morning that you are thriving. The comparison has no room to grow.
So our 3 tools are the progress journal to celebrate your own wins, the scroll pause to interrupt the comparison reflex, and the Thrive affirmation to protect your mindset every morning. 3 simple habits that will completely change how you experience your English journey. Now it is time for our listener practice drill, the most interactive part of our show. 3 real situations. Your job is to respond naturally using the vocabulary and mindset from today.
Remember your key tools: the word inadequate to name the feeling, the verb thrive to describe your goal, and your 3 techniques. Pause the podcast, think, and say your answer out loud. That is the practice.
Situation 1. Your friend shows you a video of someone who became fluent in English in 6 months. Your friend says, "See, it is possible to do it fast. Why are you taking so long?" How do you respond calmly and confidently? Pause and try.
Here is a natural response. I appreciate you sharing that, but everyone's journey is different. Watching that actually used to make me feel inadequate. Now I focus on my own progress, and honestly, I am thriving at my own pace. Fast is not always better. Consistent is better.
Perfect. Notice how they used both keywords naturally in one response. Inadequate to describe what they used to feel, and thriving to describe where they are now. That combination shows emotional intelligence and advanced B2 vocabulary in a completely authentic way.
Situation 2. You are in an English class and the teacher asks everyone to introduce themselves. The person before you speaks beautifully with almost no accent. You suddenly feel completely inadequate. What do? Pause and answer out loud.
A great response. Hi everyone, my name is Maria, and I am here because I want to grow. I will be honest, I sometimes feel a little inadequate compared to advanced speakers, but I have learned that my only real competition is who I was last month, and I am definitely thriving compared to that version of me.
That introduction is honest, confident, and memorable. It turns a moment of potential embarrassment into a moment of connection. When you admit your struggle with mature vocabulary, people respect you. They do not judge you. They relate to you.
Situation 3, our final drill. You are feeling unmotivated. You just watched 10 videos of people who seem much better than you at English. You feel like quitting. What do you say to yourself to get back on track? Pause and try it out loud.
Here is your model self-talk. Okay, I am in the comparison trap right now. I feel inadequate, and that is normal. But those videos are their highlights, not their whole story. I am closing this app. I am opening my progress journal, and I'm going to write one win from today. I choose to thrive. My garden is still growing.
That self-talk is incredibly powerful. It acknowledges the feeling without being controlled by it. It uses both key vocabulary words in a completely authentic context. And it ends with action. That is the language of someone who is truly thriving, not just surviving. You know, Benjamin, when you stop comparing and you start watering your own garden, something deep changes. English stops being a competition that you are losing. It stops being a race against the whole internet. And it slowly becomes your own personal, peaceful journey. It stops being a heavy obligation, a chore, and it becomes a quiet, happy part of who you are.
Yes, for so long, you saw yourself as the slow student who is always behind everyone. But every time you choose to thrive instead of compare, you change that story. Little by little, you become a calm learner who grows every single day. Not the fastest, but always growing. And growing in peace is so much better than racing in fear.
That is the real transformation, Benjamin. The goal was never to beat the 12-year-old on the internet. The goal is to wake up tomorrow a little better than today. To bloom in your own season. Your only real competition is the person you were yesterday, nobody else.
So as we close today's episode, we want to leave you with a message of deep self-compassion. If you compared yourself to someone online and felt small and inadequate, please do not be hard on yourself. That feeling is human, and it happens to everyone. Just gently bring your eyes back to your own garden. Be kind to your roots. You are still growing.
You are so right, Benjamin. If this conversation touched your heart and gave you a little more peace, please do not forget to subscribe to Spoken English HQ podcast. Give this video a thumbs up and leave us a comment below. We really want to read your stories. What is one small win in your English that you are proud of? Tell us, and let's celebrate it together.
We cannot wait to read your responses. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. Take care of yourselves, water your own garden, and remember, you are exactly where you need to be.
Take care of yourselves, everyone. Be compassionate with your progress, and see you in our next episode. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.